Coming off a Week 12 bye into a Week 13 matchup against Wake Forest, Miami quarterback Cam Ward needs to be a statement player for the Hurricanes and reclaim his QB1 status for the 2025 NFL Draft. We'll discuss this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a senior draft analyst, and thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydayers. And you know, I got to kick the intro to Mr. LSU himself, Keith Sanchez. You can find and follow him on X at The Talent Code. You talk to him, baby.
What's up, Locked On family? Let's get locked in. This is Keith Sanchez, 2019 national champ, man, and the other side to this dynamic duo that we like to call the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. And I want to start this podcast off by saying what? Shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day, man. Every listen is greatly appreciated here over at Locked On NFL Draft. Today's show, college football week 13 preview. You know what we do, man. We talking about the top draft prospects, right? So what draft prospect needs to make a statement this weekend of college football? We're going to talk about those second-tier prospects and those sleepers. So we're going through the entire slate. We're talking all the NFL draft prospects, right? And we're aligning those DP. Let's start this thing off, man. One of my favorite segments, make a statement.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off your first purchase. Make a statement, Keith, and I got to go to a guy that's been, top 2 quarterback this entire time, and that is Miami's Cam Ward. Like, is it a big-time matchup for Miami? No, it's Wake Forest, who just got, I think Amari Hampton just had 244 yards rushing against them, and he demolished them, right? But that's what you need to see in this game from Miami, especially Miami's offense, is the last time we saw you lost to Georgia Tech. Then you went on the bye, right? If you're Cam Ward, the last play we saw the last snap you took was a play where you turned down the check down, tried to make a play, look for big game hunting, and was strip sack, and you lost the game.
Yep.
Right? This is an opportunity for you to then wipe that off, wipe the slate clean. You stay within range of the ACC championship game. But against Wake Forest, now, again, the defense has to do their job, and they have not done that all season. But Miami's offense, you need to come out here. I want to see 42, 45 points. I need, make that statement that I am the best quarterback and I'm the most dominant quarterback in college football. The plays that we routinely see you make that no other quarterback really in college football is making, the high-level throws, those incredible throws, like moving to your right, moving to your left, 40, 50, 60 yards down the field with that arm talent, things like that, off platform, be that, but then also operate more in structure, take the check downs. When I broke down this film a couple weeks ago, I used a quote from Pops off of Friday where he told Craig, listen, you don't need a gun. You live to fight another day. All right, Cam, you don't have to chuck it 60 yards down the field. I got a built-in hot route for you. Check it down. Throw it away. You live to throw another day. You live to throw another down. What you did, I want to see him learn. And honestly, sometimes losing helps. I want to see him learn from that mistake, Keith, where, okay, you feel pressure and the deep down the field routes are covered. Oh, wait, I got to check down the flats. Look over there, find it, dump it down. Trust your underneath playmakers to do their job and make plays. And again, Wake Forest shouldn't threaten you. If that defense gives up a bunch of points to Wake Forest, just go ahead and just put the fork in them. They're done. But the point is, for Cam, go out here and dominate this game. Check to some run. He's really good pre-snap. One of the best quarterbacks in college football in pre-snap. The hard count, forcing defenses to show themselves and show what they're going to do. Also, don't be learn from that Georgia Tech game. You were fooled by their DC. He showed you different things pre-snap, dropped out of it post-snap. Learn from your mistakes, get better, and go out here and dominate Wake Forest.
Yeah, DP, no, I like that call out, and it's because with even Miami, right, at this point, make the statement, Cam Ward making a statement as far as draft prospects, but you want to make a statement holistically as a team too,
Yeah.
starting with Cam Ward, right? And you're trying to make this playoff run, the ACC, things like that. You want to be playing good football. So everything I feel like aligns for Cam Ward as far as his draft stock. It aligns with, being a winner, right? Lead Miami back to finally saying that the U is back, right? All of those different things. So you can't have any more hiccups, and you have to look like a true contender,
Especially with Syracuse coming up next week. Syracuse offense can put up points,
they can
Keith.
score. Yeah, they can
You
score.
need to
Yes.
take care of this game.
Yeah, you got to get it right. And so I like that call out, DP. I'm looking at this, and I'm gonna go with the make a statement. It's quite a few players. Yesterday, was it 2 days ago? I talked about Curtis Rourke, right? Because we have this Big Ten matchup. And I talked about Curtis Rourke as far as a prospect spotlight, what he can do. But DP, I'm looking at the other side of the football, right? And I'm not predicting any upsets, right? That Indiana's going to beat Ohio State. But if Indiana's looking how Indiana's looking, and then Ohio State's looking how Ohio State looking, then you can only, I guess, assume that it should be a close matchup. And the thing is this, that with the name and the star power that Ohio State has, I'm looking at their offensive prospects, right? Make a statement, right? Donovan Jackson, get in there and be dominant in the run game, whether you're playing guard or tackle, right? I'm looking at the running backs, Quinshawn, Trevion Henderson. Y'all are two of the most highly coveted running backs out of high school, right? And then you go to college, right? And then NFL draft prospects, like both of you guys at some point were in the first rounds during your college career, right? Show up. Emeka Egbuka, right? Show up. Will Howard, they went and got you from Kansas State, right? Show up. So I'm looking at this offensive situation and these draft prospects, and I'm saying all of you guys need to make a statement, right? Because you want to say that Ohio State is the number 2 team, but I think, and when you look at it, it's like, which part is the most dependable, right? And some of these guys have to show up to start building an identity for Ohio State, but building their draft identity. Because, DP, I want to say this, that we just did the mock draft show yesterday, and I do it too, that I put Emeka Egbuka in the first round. Is that a by default situation, right? Or is that, this guy is a first round prospect for sure, right? And I think that we both want to put him in the first round being like, he's for sure that dude, right? And I think with him, then even, the defensive talent, we get to the back in the first round. I would love to put Quinshawn Judkins to the Chiefs or something, right, at pick 32 and, a different situation. So it's like all of you guys, elevate your draft stock and play well.
100%. And for me, Keith, even with that, and I like that call out, it falls on the shoulder of Will Howard. Like you're pulling up Emeka Egbuka's game log. Like he was balling up until week 7. They had a bye in week 8. After week 8, they came back. Nebraska, 20 receiving yards. Penn State, 31 receiving yards and a touchdown. Purdue, 10 receiving yards and a touchdown. Last week is Northwestern, 25 receiving yards. So it's like Will Howard. And don't get me wrong, I know they've been trying to get the running game more influenced into the offense and infused. But Will Howard, when you got to drop back and pass, it can't just be Jeremiah Smith. You can't just target the freshman. You have other playmakers on this offense. Get Emeka Egbuka going. He's one of the better route runners, if not the best route runner on your team. He can separate at will. He makes plays. He doesn't drop the ball. He's super reliable. It's going to fall on Will Howard's shoulders because in this game, defensively, you should feel good about Ohio State versus Indiana. But offensively, it's like, what are we going to get? Because against Penn State, and I keep going back to, if Drew Allen was healthy, like 100% healthy, and then that receiver does not drop that touchdown, I really believe that Ohio State was going to lose that game because Will Howard started that game out with a pick 6, if I remember correctly. And it's like, like he came in too amped up. He's from that area. That was his favorite college, and they didn't recruit him. They didn't value him, and he took that on the chin. But he wore those emotions on his sleeve, and you saw it come out in his play. So for Will Howard, man, like when the opportunity is there, get the ball to your playmakers. Like we know that you have a big arm. You're strong. You're mobile. You have traditional NFL size. Now just operate as a playmaker, and not. They do a lot of schemed up stuff for him, isolated stuff like bubble screens and stuff to get him into rhythm. All right, cool. Now, once we're past the scheme stuff, what can you do for me as a quarterback? What can you do for me in the pocket? You have the physical ability. Now you got to show it.
Yeah, DP, I'm right there with you on that, right? Like he's another guy that, well, not another, but in addition to, just needs to be focused on and make it happen, right? At the end of the day. But DP, let's keep this thing going and flowing. You know what we do, man. We do make a statement. Then we talk about these second tier prospects, right? That can make a difference, kind of tilt the scales, right, towards their team winning this weekend. We're talking about those NFL draft prospects that can do that this weekend, coming up next.
Today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Guys, I have to shout out a couple people in my life that's really helped me get to the point where I am today. My therapist, I go once to twice a month, depending on the month. And of course, my wife, being such a supportive spouse, it helped me get through everything that's been going on in life. This month is all about gratitude. Along with the people I just shouted out, there's another person we don't get to think enough, ourselves. Sometimes it's hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of everything in this crazy world, and that isn't easy. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. If you think about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/lockedon. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. But it's not just your favorite teams in sports and your sports contests. You can go to concerts and shows as well. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets for you and your party. Also, what I like about and I love about Game Time, they have seat views for all the seats in the venue. So before you purchase your ticket, you know what vantage point you will have. They have lowest price guarantees, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Second tier prospects, Keith, I got to go to Illinois, man. And one of my, he feels like he's a sleeper. They're going on the road. They're ranked 25 in the nation right now. They're top 25, right at the back at number 25, and they're going on the road to face Rutgers. Keith, it's Pat Bryant, the wide receiver from Illinois, and the guy again has been he's been good all season. 43 receptions, 717 yards receiving. He's averaging close to 17 yards per catch and 8 receiving touchdowns. He's coming off a game in week 12. He caught 4 or 5 targets for 135 yards and a touchdown against Michigan State. 6'3", 200 pounds. He is a true senior. Last year, he spent his entire career at Illinois. So this is a young man that was talented enough that if he wanted to get into the portal and go help another team, he could have. But he stayed home. He stayed where he was, and he just developed and grew. And they've benefited. This passing offense has benefited from his presence. And I think against Rutgers, I think just another opportunity for this young man to showcase his talent, his ability. Again, having the traditional receiver size, he's got good hands, ball skills. His speed is good, and he can run routes for a bigger body guy. I haven't come up with a comp for him. I haven't done the deep dive to fully grade him. But I think that this young man has a chance to work himself into that day 2 realm and potentially be someone that goes to, whether it's the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, go to one of these all-star games, light it up in one-on-ones, and show these NFL scouts sitting on the sideline, I have speed, athleticism, playmaking ability, ball skills, and size. You need me in your offense. Pat Bryant needs to get the ball a lot against Rutgers because Rutgers want to run the ball. They have a solid defense. I think Greg Schiano's their coach, so they play a physical brand defense and everything. I think it's a good matchup for him to really showcase himself on the road.
Yeah, I like that, DP. I'm looking at this Vanderbilt LSU matchup. And I'm gonna start with Vanderbilt side of the football as far as second tierish prospects. I think we've seen this guy commit to the Shrine Bowl already, and I talk about him, right? Tight end Eli Stowers. Watch him, and you watch him because this tight end, this LSU defense is playing better, but this team is kind of reeling all together, right? It's like right now they can't put together a complete team effort, right? If the offense plays well, the defense struggling. If the defense playing well, the offense struggling, right? They can't get it together. And so you look at the quarterback, right, in tandem with Eli Stowers. I want to see how Eli plays, how they use him, because they do so many different things with him. Because can he become a mismatch situation? And then listen, against Bama, he went for over 100 yards, right? So the guy has the goods to be able to get the job done. So I'm looking at Eli Stowers from that perspective. And then DP, I flip it to the other side of the coin. I look at Mr. Kyron Lacey for LSU, right? The wide receiver from LSU. I'm also paying attention to him because he started off, I would say, decently, right? With the SC game, 7 for 94. Then the South Carolina game, 5 for 63. Nichols obviously had 3 touchdowns. You kind of throw that one out. Then he had Ole Miss 100 yards, and then Texas A&M. So it's kind of been spotty as far as the production part. But the last 2 weeks, it's a total of 8 catches and just over 100 yards. So he needs to play well. LSU needs to play well. I'm looking at the offensive line, Emory Jones and Will Campbell, because I think they were talking about it, and the stat is not. Don't quote me exactly on the stat, but it's somewhere close to this. That second half of the Florida game, they gave up more pressure or more sacks. I think it was 6 or something like that than what they had the combined previous 6 games. It was something crazy like that, right? And so it, like, when stuff is going bad, like, it's one of those things, when it rains, it pours, right? When your offense is not working, the quarterback is throwing interceptions, the offensive line ain't protecting, can't run the football, all of those different things. So I'm looking at some of these draft prospects, so LSU, Vanderbilt, these guys to elevate their draft stock and kind of turn it around for LSU. And then Vanderbilt, if you're Eli Stowers, continue to press forward.
No, 100%, Keith. And I think, I've talked to some evaluators and stuff, and even some scouts about, like, Emory Jones, this guy that was projected to be a first-round pick in the summer. He's been knocked down to day 2 because of how his play's been so up and down this season, while Will Campbell still holds that first-round grade. It's just now a lot of scouts and teams feel like the arm length is going to be pivotal for him. If he comes in right on the head of 33, okay, we might try you at tackle. But there's a strong chance you might be kicked down in the guard at the next level. So we're gonna have to see how that whole thing plays out. Keith, I got to go to probably one of the more anticipated games for me this weekend. Colorado, 3:30 Eastern kickoff, going on the road to Kansas. Yeah. And I'm looking at this duo of corners.
Yeah,
Kobe Bryant, Mello
Kansas. DP, Kansas been knocking people off, right?
Yes,
in the Big 12, they've been lining them up and knocking them off. I think
they are spoilers right now.
Iowa State, who was in the Big 12 championship game, and then BYU, who I think still is in the championship game, but they beat them last week to give them their first loss and kind of open the door for Arizona State.
They almost knocked off Kansas State on the road, 2 weeks ago. They lost by 2. This team is playing good football, like Jalen Daniels, and the run game is working. But this corner duo, because at the end of the day, like, if you, as an offensive coordinator, like, you typically want to move your top playmaker around. That's Travis Hunter for the Buffaloes. Well, you can't really. Not that you hired Travis Hunter anyway, but if you wanted to, you couldn't, because you got 2 guys that can play lockdown football on the outside between both of these corners, man. And like Mello Dotson, very patient cornerback with his footwork. He can play off coverage. And again, when he played one of our guys, Jaden Higgins, now athletically, it's a different ball game going against Jaden Higgins and Travis Hunter. But he locked down Jaden Higgins. You know what I mean? Kobe Bryant being a physical guy. He's probably the better athlete of the 2 between him and Mello. But that's a situation where, for those guys and second-tier prospects, this is in a cornerback class that we're waiting for someone or some group of corners to really elevate themselves. If you can walk out of this game and say, hey, we both got targeted 3-4 times against Travis Hunter, and we only gave up 10 yards total, that's how you really stake your claim as a day 2 prospect in the cornerback class. And maybe you're a top 10 cornerback overall in this class as well, especially when certain guys are hurt right now at the top. This is a big time matchup for those 2 corners, man, because at the end of the day, where Shador is going to want to go with the football. I don't know if I think Jimmy Horn might be back, because I think he's been dealing with an injury. If he's back, that opens up that offense even more, him and LeJounte Wester and stuff like that. But we know where the ball's going 9 times out of 10. It's going to Travis Hunter. And if you can lock him down, something that is not easy to do, kudos to you. You're going to help your draft stock.
Yep, no, 100%. DP, let's keep this thing going and flowing. And what's coming up next, we're going to talk about those sleeper guys, right? There's a bunch of matchups. DP, I think there's some really good ones and high-profile ones, but then there's some ones that's kind of a little meh, right? But we're going to talk about the draft prospects that can kind of tilt the scales, right? Whether it's it could be on upset alert or things like that. We're going to talk about those draft prospects coming up next.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's number one sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 back in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets, all in one place. So when you get that hunch or that urge in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. All you need to do is just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 back in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Again, you'll get started with $150 back in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. And what do you need to do to get on the deal? Simple. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Guys, for me, Keith, Savion Williams, at this point, running back / receiver for TCU, big 6'5", 220-pound grown man. Keith, I was watching tape on him, and I watched his. I'm not gonna lie. Do I like seeing him get carries? Absolutely not. I don't like seeing it. I hate seeing any running back.
Right? It's interesting.
It is, especially when you're 6'5", right? You don't expect to see when you're Debo Samuel, you're 5'11", 220. Oh yeah, you kind of built like a running back.
Yeah,
when you see a 6'5" receiver lined up in the backfield at the Wildcat quarterback and even taking some handoff, they even throw the ball. They ran like a vertical route, in an angle route, Texas route with him out the backfield, which is it's fun and creative to get him get him matched up as a mismatch against a linebacker, or a safety flat-footed. And I just look at him, man, and when I look at this young man's like just overall skill set, they're going up against Arizona, who's a solid defense, right? So if he does play on the outside, he gets some Tacario Davis reps. And we'll see how that turns out if Hoover, the quarterback, will take the chance to target Tacario. But when you look at his overall skill set and then how he's been used this year, Keith, he kind of reminds me of Cordell Patterson, right? Like, coming out of, Tennessee? Like, he was big, he was physical, he was athletic.
I was literally going to name that off just because of the transition to playing running back and stuff and what he's doing in the NFL.
It's like, it's just crazy. Now, they still tried to make him a receiver early on when he got to the league, but his career
he
really
did it
off.
Yeah, not in a weird way. He did it for a while. Like he was, because remember he did the wide receiver thing, and then he did like the kind of strictly kick returner. He was like the Josh Cribbs.
Yeah,
remember Josh? I think it's Josh.
I think
Cribbs.
he might have a record for I think kickoff returns, maybe.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, and then he did that, and then he did the running back thing. So he's had like 3 different careers in one situation. And it's like really played 3 different.
This man has lived 3 different lives in the NFL, which is crazy. Like in the league that stands for not for long. He's done it for a long time, Keith. So I think Savion Williams is probably going to, if they keep using him like that, teams are going to just view him as that type of player and say, well, you know what, that's fine. Right. But, they're going up against Arizona. I hope to see him versus Tacario Davis because that's still a guy as a cornerback that's getting first-round buzz from a lot of teams, Keith. We may not view him as a true first-rounder, but he's a talented big corner, like probably the tallest, longest or limbed corner in the class. So he can present that matchup against Savion to, hey, I can go height for height, arm length for arm length. You know what I mean? And be physical and try to run stride for stride with him. I hope to see that a couple one-on-one routes and matchups against those two. But nonetheless, I think the Cordell Patterson comp for him is probably going to stick because of the way that they've been using them this season.
Yeah, 100%. With DP, I'm looking at this Alabama-Oklahoma matchup, first of all, right? Then you talking about some of these under the radar prospects. Oklahoma, we haven't talked about Billy Bowman in a very long time, man. I want to see him make some plays. See if he's going to be in a QB spy situation on Jalen Milroe. See if he can trick Jalen Milroe, right, into throwing a couple interceptions, showing one thing. And he's one of those instinctive guys that literally leaves his man to go run way across the field, right, to go make a play on the football. And we know that Alabama passing game can kind of be up and down. So Billy Bowman, and then Ethan Downs is an edge rusher that gets buzz from time to time, right, depending on who you're talking to. I've watched some of them. I like them. I'm not in the high-end category yet, but I would like to see him go against this offensive line, the second-year player, Caden Proctor, and then, the other people that they have on this offensive line for Bama, Tyler Booker, things like that. And Oklahoma moves him around, so I'm interested to see how he fares against them. And then I'm going to look at looking at this Texas A&M Auburn matchup, right? Auburn, we know they can win the game, probably gonna have to run the football through our guy, Jarquez Hunter, right? One of the running backs that we like a whole lot. But then you look at the other side, defensive line, you have Nick Scourton over there, but then now also emerging is Shamar Stewart is a name that's starting to really pop up in draft communities. I'm familiar with him just from my time at LSU. Another 5-star kid. I think he's from Miami. I think he was South Florida kid from Miami, went to Texas A&M. Another one of those 6'4", 6'5", 270-pound, 260-pound edge rush hybrid guys. The guy lines up all the way from over the center to playing edge rusher. They do it all at Texas A&M, and it reminds me of the Marvin Leal a little bit, right? As far as one of those big-bodied edge rusher type football players, and so I'm looking at him, wanting to see him play well too, because they're gonna have to dominate in the trenches. Because I think Auburn's gonna try to run the football.
Oh, 100%, Keith. Going back to that Bama-Oklahoma matchup, I don't expect much from Oklahoma's offense because they've been hurt all season at the receiver position. But on defense, Danny Stutzman, the linebacker, 6'4", 240.
Stutzman's another one. Yep,
100%. He's had a pretty solid season, 6 pressures, 4 QB hits. He got a sack on the season. He's also got he's closing in on 70 tackles and stuff like that. He hasn't been bad in coverage. And I think in this game, you're going to need to be in the box with Jalen Milroe and trying to figure out how to keep him corralled and flushed in the pocket. You can't flush him out of the pocket. You need to keep him contained inside of it and just tell him, hey, you're going to have to beat us as a pocket passer, and take the deep ball away, take away Ryan Will. You're going to have to do a lot of different things to stop this Bama offense, but Danny Stutzman is going to be needed. And I think this is an opportunity for him. Again, we don't talk about, as a draft community, the linebacker class much, but he's a good linebacker. He's a good linebacker prospect. And I think this is an opportunity for him to just kind of really stake his claim and say, listen, I'm one of the better guys in this class. I can run, I can tackle, I can hit, I can blitz, I can do different things to help the defense, help your NFL defensive front. And I think this is a game for him to truly make a statement for himself.
Yeah, DP, I'm going to wrap this up with this Texas versus Kentucky matchup. And a wide receiver, I've talked about him before. I'm going to talk about him again. And I'm going to make a bold statement. I think if I call it a bold statement, I got to say it with my chest, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say it. Matthew Golden may be the best wide receiver on Texas. I watched both of these guys. I watched Isaiah Bond. I watched Matthew Golden. I'm going to say this, and they're a lot closer than what people are putting them in, or giving them, right? And he's a guy I think that's starting to heat up some with Quinn Ewers. They're starting to, Quinn is starting to look his way a little bit more and understand this guy could be a nuanced player. And so my bold statement would be this, that Matthew Goldman is a lot closer to Isaiah Bond when it comes to talent and skill level than what the rest of the draft community is giving him. So he's definitely a player that I'm going to look out for. And then thinking about Kentucky, I mean, when the last time we mentioned Deion Walker, right? When the last time we mentioned Maxwell Harrison, the cornerback for them, and how he's going to face off against these wide receivers.
Yeah, I think, with Deion, with Maxwell, I think he's been hurt.
Okay.
So he's missed some time.
Missed some games.
But yeah, with Deion, stats look pretty solid, but just that, I don't know what's going on with Kentucky. It just looks weird offensively and defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize Deion Walker actually still has a year of eligibility left. I highly doubt he takes it, but we'll see. If he doesn't, if the love from the NFL isn't what it was in the summer, he might return to school. You know what I mean? And maybe he transfers, go to a better defensive system where they actually let him just fully shine and flourish. But I like to call out for both those guys. Keep an eye on I think he's been playing as of late. That offense is just so weird. Brock Vandegrift transferring from Georgia, and everything. But like Barry Brown, the speedster, 6'1", 182. He's a really good playmaker. I wish he was in a better passing offense to truly showcase his ability.
And I didn't even. Yeah, and it just crossed my mind the other day. Do you remember Jamori Macklin from North Texas that a lot of people talked about, and he just simply hasn't had the number, and it's unfortunate because I thought he was another talented football player that I had
that passing offense only has 1,800, a little over 1,800 passing yards going into week 13.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So we'll see, and we'll just see what those guys do. Maybe they hop in the portal again, right, and move around. Right. That's how college football is right now with DP. That wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day, man. Listen, I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. And you can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers, guys. Listen, enjoy college football, enjoy NFL football this weekend, and catch us up on Monday. See who gets the game ball. Let's see how the top 10 quarterback rankings shake out after this week. Does Curtis Rourke stay in, or does he fall out with a bad performance against Ohio State? We'll find out this weekend. But come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.